I'd be willing to wager 1 cup of fresh hot coffee that Airbnb owes you money right now. That's if you're an Airbnb host. So none of you on this channel who don't have Airbnb properties, don't take me up on that bet. In this video, I'm going to show you 3 ways that Airbnb is not paying you. Yeah, it's not just one accidental way or one intentional way. There's actually 3 completely separate categories in which Airbnb is not paying you all the money that you're owed. By the end of this video, you're going to be knocking on that door, coming to collect. Give me my money. JG Wentworth, it's my money. I need it now. Fun fact, just in one of these 3 categories, Airbnb at one point owed me more than $100,000. It's kind of crazy. They're disorganized is one reason, but we'll get into that later. So like the video, please and thanks, subscribe. Yeah, the background is a green screen because I'm doing other cool stuff, but that wasn't the intention for this video. My place is just honestly a mess. But let's go. Let's teach you some stuff. This is how not fancy green screen technology is. You hang a sheet that's green and you just take out the back. By the time you see this video, I will probably be in the Bahamas having some fun. Since Airbnb has afforded me the opportunity to travel a few months a year, I want to help you make some money so you can travel a few months a year. Let's move somewhere more comfortable. This green thing's bugging me out. I've discussed 2 of these in some videos between YouTube and TikTok and Instagram, and the 3rd one is going to be completely new to you. So for all of you professional hosts, stay till the end. You'll probably still be forgetting about one of the first 2, but the 3rd one is going to be like super important, especially now that Airbnb is a publicly traded company. This has really become a problem that's been ramping up. So the first one is the fact that anytime that you start an Airbnb account and you start hosting on Airbnb, they're going to withhold tax money from you just by default. And so I did a previous video, 10 hidden site links, and I mentioned it. There's a new tax form link that you need to click and you need to fill out a 1099. By doing this is going to be the fastest of the 3. By doing this, you just set it up and Airbnb will stop taking like 25% of your money, of your revenues. The guy Hui, who I mentioned, who actually came and did a home tour here when he was visiting, he's also like my buddy and I, we have a new YouTube channel we're working on called Lords of Travel, and he's like one of our traveling videographers, and he's part of the crew now. And so he'll be with us in the Bahamas, and he's been all sorts of places taking fun videos, but his Airbnb account was getting sapped like 25%, and he didn't even notice. He's like, why is this not reconciling? So if the numbers just don't add up on the back end, you need to check to make sure that that's filled out. But number 2 is the one where I think every single host just gets tagged. It's unfortunate, but every single host gets tagged. And to do this one is you're going to go to your upcoming payouts section on your Airbnb. Like you go to transaction history and then upcoming payouts. And then if you see any bookings, any payouts that are upcoming that actually have a date past today, right? Anything in the past, that means Airbnb's system is screwed up. Either there was a problem with the guest payment, that guest is in collections, or Airbnb's payment processing screwed up because the person maybe extended their stay and they didn't pay you the rest of the extension. There's a lot of ways that Airbnb's software bugs out and doesn't pay you for reasons. And this is the one that Airbnb has owed me more than $100,000 in like past reservations for. But we do so much money that it's something that if we're not looking for it, we don't notice it, right? Because we're profitable, and I'm not an accountant. I don't really care about money. So as long as we're profitable and my people get paid, I'm chill. But I can tell you right now, we actually have another batch of past due reservations that we need to get paid for. So I'm about to do what I'm going to tell you to do, which is you go to the help link. Actually, I'm going to give you these 2 links down in the description. Get your transaction history, and then you go to the help link and start like spamming a chat bot. It's about something else. I need help, but it's about something else. And when you get a human on the chat, you take all of your reservation data and you punch it into the chat box and say, hey, these are all of our reservation codes for reservations we have not yet been paid on. Could you forward this to someone to make sure that we get paid on these past due reservations? And these are the amounts. This is what we're owed. You owe us $154,000. Click. It took them months and months to pay me that money, but they eventually just randomly deposited it in my account, which is nice. So for what you will, that one is super helpful. This 3rd one is a big deal, actually. It's something that's become more and more of a problem now that Airbnb is a public company. They care more about shareholder profit, and they've grown to a size where it's really hard to manage the amount of people that they have. They have a lot of work remote kind of people all over the world, and they have cheap labor. And all of us hosts know this, and so not to scare you newbies out there, but Airbnb's hired some just really unintelligent and out of touch customer service staff, resolution managers, case managers, and stuff like that. So you sometimes get these adverse actions against you that are completely erroneous. And so The third one is not just Airbnb taking your money for reservations that you should have got paid, but what follows from this. So let me give you an example. This last weekend, we had a guest try to check in at 5:45 p.m. or something, like 5:27 p.m. And the guest was like, hey, I can't get in, the code's not working. Well, the person was not properly using the keyless entry. They forgot to hit a button after they entered the code, kind of thing. But our customer service staff responded like in 15 minutes, like 5:41, so that's 14 minutes later, said, hi, here's the door code, here's exactly how do you use it. Are you having can you explain your issue with the door handle, with the lock? And then just at 5:47, the reservation was canceled. Airbnb never called us. The guest never called us, but we responded like in kind within like under 15 minutes. But Airbnb just assumed when the guest called and said, I can't get into the property, this is, blah, blah, blah. Airbnb's like, host violation, cancel the reservation, block the calendar for like a 3-day stay. So essentially what we have here now is we have a claim against Airbnb where we believe Airbnb inappropriately took money from us, violating their own processes, right? This is one of many examples that will lead you to something called arbitration, and that's number 3. Arbitration is actually 2 parts. There's 2 parts to this process. And for those of you who don't understand what arbitration is this little chunk of contract in Airbnb's terms of service where if something is wrong and you're mad at Airbnb, you can't just sue them. You can't. You've agreed to arbitration. And in order to arbitrate, right, to have somebody in the middle, a professional company, decide who gets paid what, you have to give them notice of arbitration. So there's a pre-arbitration phase for any arbitration claim. Now, your arbitrations could be something like this, or damages done by a guest that Airbnb didn't award you the full money that you were owed, or just any sort of problem or issue, resolutions that you made a claim against the guest, like for damaged furniture, a party that they threw and you had to hire a security company, anything that Airbnb just did not pay you where you believe their terms of service had them on the hook, or their host guarantee had them on the hook. So now here's the fun little hack about arbitration. It's expensive. They have to pay a company to do the arbitration, and they have to have somebody show up and do the arbitration and sit down through it. So Airbnb doesn't want to go to arbitration, but what they're doing is they're cost averaging your inaction against you, right? So they've got all these claims that could be put into arbitration, and they're going, well, we're going to pay out on a percentage of them, and the rest of the world is just not going to go through the process. So all in all, we're going to only pay, say, 10 cents on the dollar for what we should be paying, is the math here. So if you're going to do arbitration claims, what you need to do is you need to send them a letter, a 30 days notice of arbitration. This is the issue. Here's the amount that we feel like we're owed, and this is your notice that we're going to put you into arbitration. I've never seen Airbnb not settle in pre-arbitration for anything less than $1,500. I've never heard of anybody filing an arbitration under $1,500 and Airbnb actually taking it through to arbitration to try to battle against you, because it's so expensive and it's so time consuming. So if you have small bits of money, $200, $400, where Airbnb owes you for something, or Airbnb took your money from you for like a reservation like we just discussed, just write them a letter. Of course, the address is in your terms of service contract, and you get 30 days. They have 30 days to respond and settle with you. Now, we're doing this in bulk, actually. So we are doing tons and tons of, sending them in a FedEx envelope, like a stack of 100 pre-arbitrations and sending them in a FedEx envelope. And this is a full-time ordeal. One second, my assistant is showing up. This is Sean, getting a lot done before this Bahamas trip. So that is essentially how your pre-arbitration will work. I will be doing a little boot camp on this with a gentleman named Robert. Now, Robert is a host out of Houston. He's one of my oldest students, and it's almost offensive to even refer to him as a student anymore because he makes like $3 million a year on the platform. He's done really well, and I more so consider him a peer now, as an agent in this space. And he wants to learn kind of some of our back-end secrets, so he's offered to co-boot camp with me and teach some best practices, because he's more of a co-host kind of guy, and he's getting into arbitrage due to my study or my teachings. And so we're going to do an event after I get back from the Bahamas, so stay tuned on that. What else is important to know? As you move forward in time and you want to track these adverse actions against you so you can prepare to go into arbitration and maybe hire an admin that does resolutions and arbitration, anytime something comes across your desk or comes across the Airbnb platform that's like, okay, this is going to suck, they're going to take some money and I know it, right? Do a screenshot of it, get the reservation code, get a screenshot of the conversation, and then the name of that screenshot, you're going to put the reservation code, HM blank, 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 and then write arbitration or something like that. So reservation code, arbitration, and then store that in a folder somewhere that is your arbitration folder. Then somebody can go in and start drafting all of your arbitration notices based on all the screenshots. And if you have a bunch of reservations or any reservations where Airbnb canceled them by host and penalized you $100 and blocked your calendar, you can then go back in your calendars, go into each one of your listings and just scroll back in time and just look for any blacked out dates. It'll have the person's name on it. You can't access this from multi-calendar. You have to go to the individual calendar, open up the individual calendar, and then click on that blacked out reservation, and then you can open up the message thread for that. You can't access the message thread from a canceled listing or canceled booking from the multi-calendar. So just drill down to the individual calendar. And then you can, of course, screenshot those and start to pull the data from that. And one of your best ways to avoid having to take things to arbitration for MIFs is to really understand the host guarantee process. And in a future video, we'll touch back on the host guarantee process because things have changed since the last time I did a video on that. But if you do good paperwork for your host guarantee, they'll pay out way more frequently on your host guarantees, and thus you don't have to chase them down in arbitration because of a paperwork admin error. They've really been stiff lately about their host guarantees. For example, they're trying to settle their host guarantees. Instead of paying out in full, they're trying to settle at 50% off default. Haley's been telling me all about this. And by the way, so those of you who don't know, Haley runs the whole business now. Over 100 properties. She's adding them on their own. She's staging them. She's listing them. The business is growing through Haley, because the business is 100% automated. It's the most exciting thing ever. And you'll be seeing more of Haley on this channel because she's a boss and you should be learning from her too. So thanks for watching this video. As always, guys, in the comments, questions or requests for other video topics. And as always, I will see you on the other side.
Hi.